What I love about the Russians is they accept the pain, they accept the fact that it's gonna be inconvenient, but they don't let it show. Because if you let it show in your face, you might waste energy, and the rest of your workout or the rest of your set may actually diminish in quality because you're acting like this. So instead of being like this, try this, the game face. Grüezi miteinander, Gregory from Lebe here. We're all about kettlebells. So if you are into kettlebells, then like the video and consider subscribing. Now, what I love about Joe Rogan is that he's a physical culturist. He pushes the idea of keeping it moving, whether it's fighting, kettlebells, body weight, hunting, shooting arrows or whatever. He's a primal being, and I respect that. And he's, I think, 50 plus years age, and he looks great. Now here we go. Some renegades. I love renegades. And then pull-ups. I think pull-ups are one of the greatest calisthenics exercises that you can do. Even if you're training exclusively with kettlebells, pull-ups and push-ups, that's something that you can always put into your training regimes. That's a push press. Boom. And then going down into an overhead squat. And this may look easy, but a push press into an overhead squat is a fairly advanced exercise, especially the overhead squat, because the overhead squat demonstrates how well your upper and your lower body communicate with each other, as that's one of the greatest descriptions that I've heard of the overhead squat. And what is also interesting is that a lot of martial artists gravitate towards the kettlebell. It probably has to do with Pavel's marketing back in the day. You still have to acknowledge this powerful kettlebell effect because it has such a huge skill transfer into so many sports. And club bells are also interesting. What I love about club bells is actually, I think it's one of the greatest tools to work your rotator cuff muscles and work your mobility as well. And Joe has a martial arts background as well, as far as I'm aware of. And what I think is so powerful, where the kettlebell really shines, is it works the hinge movement, your hips predominantly, especially a swing or the snatch. And this can transfer well into kicking, because as far as I'm aware of, when it comes to fighting, you transfer and use a lot of power from your center, from your hips. And if you have strong hips, you have a strong punch, or you're able to generate more force when it comes to punching and kicking. But we go with weighted sit-up with double kettlebells overhead. Now, there's a couple of things that I'm seeing apart from Joe's face. I love this. Dr. Stuart McGill points out that a sit-up can be problematic for the lower back because it puts pressure on the lower part of your spine. That's one thing that you want to be aware of. The second thing that I see is not full lockout of the elbows and the shoulders. Well, of course, this is hard to do, yet it may also demonstrate that maybe there's a certain lack of mobility in the upper body. A lot of people are tight in the shoulders, and when it comes to full extension, where you fully extend the elbow and then bring your arms up to the side, where your shoulder blade has to move through its full range of motion, the whole shoulder complex has to work together, then a lot of people are tight because they're not able to fully extend their arm. The last thing that I see about Joe's face, and I think that's something that we can learn from the Russians, is if you put up a face like this, you are experiencing the pain. And yes, we are aware of it, that if you engage in training, as long as you don't overdo it, because there's a nuance as well, then you will feel some kind of pain or some kind of burn to a certain extent, which can be normal. What I love about the Russians is they accept the pain, they accept the fact that it's gonna be inconvenient, but they don't let it show. Because if you let it show in your face, you might waste energy, and the rest of your workout or the rest of your set may actually diminish in quality because you're acting like this. So instead of being like this, try this, the game face. So here we go with the single leg deadlift, which I really like. I really like the single leg deadlift. I think for people, especially who are getting a little bit older, this can be a proper way to avoid tripping or falling, because you work on your balance and your stability. And I would recommend, if you do this for the first time, not use a kettlebell at all. Just use your body weight, and then you slowly progress. Turkish, get up. Yeah. a little bit shaky. It's a powerful exercise. I love it. I love it. Now, there's a couple of things that I see here. Now, first of all, if you get up, you want to shift your whole body back to the elbow, not just try to rip yourself off the ground. The second thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that the kettlebell is in a nice hand insertion. Depending on what style you're using. I love grabbing the kettlebell in the sport in a hybrid fashion, where you have the kettlebell laying over you, really hanging inside your wrist, so you don't have to focus on grip or anything like that. And then what you are avoiding is that your forearm burns out, because if you have the kettlebell like this, your forearm will give out very quickly, and if this starts burning, it's one of the weakest links in the chain. Then you cannot focus on the other movements, which are so important. It's actually a great idea, a goblet squat with a power band on your shins, because what maybe the goal is to really make sure that the knees are pushing out and that you have some kind of resistance to work on your kinesthetic sense and the awareness that you want to push your knees out, make sure your upper body is straight. And yeah, that's a great idea. All right, so split squat and a press. Again, something that you can do, but as you can see, what you have to do is when you come back up, because the weight is fairly heavy, it comes up from the split squat. That way, maybe you're a little bit off balance and stability is not 100% guaranteed, so could be a little bit tricky. So again, with these heavy weights, what I would love to do and what I would rather do is just engage in that rack split squat. It's a powerful idea, and then you separate it, make sure you have a stable base, and then you go into the press. Cleans. Nice, more of a hard style approach. I love it. I would even call this a hand clean, because it doesn't go into a backswing. He just brings the kettlebell down and then pulls them up. So the focus here is rather on the upper body than it is on the lower body with a hand clean like this. And with these Primal kettlebells, we've heard mixed reviews. I think they look awesome. They're a great piece of art, but I wouldn't use them because I don't want the face to slam on my forearm if I'm working in a set, because if I'm working, I don't want no distraction. Clean, push press. Yeah. And what I see him do, it's a great idea. Powerful exercise, and requires a lot of mobility strength. It's fairly advanced. If you go into a push press, what he does is some form of a mini squat, and then he brings the kettlebell overhead. When we are doing a push press, you want to keep your elbow connected to your body, especially to your hip, and then use a dip. It's not a mini squat. Keep your hips engaged, keep the glutes tight, and the only thing that you do is you shove your knees forward, the upper body leans back just a little bit to generate the stretch reflex in your quads, and then you can explode from the quads into the triple extension and bring the kettlebell overhead. If you engage in this mini squat, you always will lose contact. As you can see, well, the elbow's not fairly connected. That's something that you can do. But as soon as you go down into a mini squat, the elbow even moves further away, and while you do have some generation of power from your legs, you can even do it better if the elbow stays connected, and then you can transfer the energy into your arm even in an improved and better way. And here I love it. Compared to the previous Turkish getup, I think he experienced some form of coaching, and he got some coaching and it was like, listen, you got to watch how you do the get up a little bit more controlled, and I love it. Well, he keeps the kettlebell atop. You can drop it and then roll back and relax to really, especially when you work with heavy weights, to make sure that every get up is solid and controlled. But I like it. It's a great improvement compared to the last one, and this shows that most definitely, and that's what you see in Joe Rogan's case in his podcast, that he's always willing to learn. I like that swing. More of a hard style approach, and there's something that you can see here is that happens especially with single-handed swing, because you lack the stability or the additional strength portion of your second leg of the other side, because you're only using one arm. What happens is, especially when the weight gets heavier, the bell drops and you start bending the knees because the gravitational pull is so strong that your knees have to give in, so to speak. This is not wrong. This is a technique. But the difference is you're not hinging as dramatically. And that is just a plain difference. And that's why I love the idea of incorporating different types of swings where you're just hinging only, for example, in a hybrid swing, or this hard style approach with a single hand, where you're using some form of a bent knees, and that's the beauty of kettlebells. It goes with the windmill, a powerful exercise, and there's a couple of things that we can do a little bit better to avoid problems in the lower back. Let me demonstrate that real quick. Make sure you stand in the triangle to bring the kettlebell into the top fixation safely. Once you get ready, breathe in through the nose and keep the air inside your body while contracting your abs. The first step is to engage in a side hinge, pushing the hips to the side. Here's the key. While you rotate your T-spine, you keep your lumbar spine locked. Your chest should point to the front and the kettlebell should rest approximately inside the center of mass. Bending your knees is preference. Make sure you return to the starting position strongly and safely. To improve your kinesthetic sense, put a stick on your upper back. This simulates the movement of your T-spine. The stick should align inside your leading leg if you engage in the windmill correctly. Now, a couple of key points from this reaction that I want to share is try to work on your game face. Don't let the pain be expressed on your face because you're wasting energy. Don't focus on the pain too much, but focus on the idea on what the pain leads to, on the result. Yet at the same time, don't chase the burn and don't overdo it. When it comes to technique, what I love about Joe is that he takes critical feedback, which is needed to improve. He could just say, well, I'm the Joe Rogan, so what are you trying to tell me? I have talked to so many folks, so I know the deal. But no, I think he's one of those people who takes critique, takes feedback, applies it, and then gets better with it. And the final point is, he's a primal being, he's a martial artist. That's why a lot of people love kettlebells, and so many people have discovered kettlebells through Joe Rogan. Folks like us who dedicate our lives to the kettlebell have to say thank you to Joe because he's pushing them, and on it is something that's where he learns his craft of working with kettlebells, is something that I cannot quite pinpoint. I think they have this primal kettlebell training ideology somehow that I will coin it, because it's some form is hard style, but then they have their own twist. And that's the beauty of kettlebells. Like I mentioned, it is a powerful tool that has a lot of range to explore, yet at the same time, there are many basics that you want to focus on because they give it the most bang for your buck. And recently, I've learned this from Dan John. Many people are chasing the 1%, trying to explore something that is so deep and so innovative and something that's so dramatically new. And the question is if that even works, while at the same time ignoring the 99% that work. Swings, clean and presses, snatch, press and stuff. And I love that Joe Rogan's engaging in these powerful basic kettlebell exercises. 90 Days of Kettlebells is an online workout course for beginners who want to train at home, lose weight, and achieve lasting results without wasting time and money with crash diets and unused gym memberships. The program works as follows. You will do 3 kettlebell workouts per week that gradually increase in difficulty. You'll also build 3 powerful eating habits that have proven successful in our coaching. As the name implies, the program lasts 90 days and you will have lifelong access after purchase. We also include live accountability sessions where you will publicly state your goals. Psychology shows us that if we make our goals public, our adherence to the process and the program increases dramatically. If you have been struggling to put together an elaborate kettlebell workout system while trying to lose weight, then 90 Days of Kettlebells is for you. The price of 90 Days of Kettlebells is $59 per month for 3 months, and you can save 20% with a one-time payment of $147. We'll open registration only to a small number of new clients. Join the waiting list now to get access 24 hours before the general public. Link is in the description.